welcome back for episode 2 of Rime of the Frost Maiden. I'm here with Brian, Matt, Billy, Nick, and Clara. We are missing Nate tonight, so he will be out of action. But nonetheless, how's everyone doing?
Doing great.
All right.
Ooh, everybody speak at once.
So how we do?
That's right. Um, let's see. Anyone want to talk about anything before we get started, or should we just jump right into it? Does anybody have anything?
Particularly.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, we'll just jump right into the recap for last week. We started off with you guys starting out in your individual towns, paired off with Vega and Eclipse and Goodmead, being tasked by the speaker of the town to venture southeast and attend an execution that was to be held in East Haven. From there, he mentioned he wasn't going to be able to attend because he had a delivery of mead to go on, because the caravaneer who had signed a contract to go ahead and help him with that had been sick and fell prone to frostbite, so he had to fill in for him. Zezix and Lysander were contacted by Tally over in Bremen to go ahead and also attend on behalf of Bremen, leaving Carcass and Leaponte to come back to town and realize that there was a big stir amongst the villagers that lived there, and excitement for the execution that was going to happen. As everyone made their way to East Haven for the event, you guys were picked out from the crowd by a woman named Velen Harpel, and she tasked you guys, meeting up with you later after the event, with finding a chewinga in the wilderness as a sort of test to be able to kind of judge exactly what the competency level of this group is. From there, you stayed the rest of the night in the inn, setting out in the morning to head to Caer Dineval, which was a first hunch on which way would be closest to the Chewinga from Velen's best guess. After some treks across the icy paths and the allure of a possible snowstorm, we held up shop in middle of the road, kind of off to the side, maybe a little bit, just to see what the storm was going to do. It didn't come to a head at your guys' location. It seemed to be moving elsewhere, and from there, you continued north to Caer Dineval, and upon reaching, or before reaching that, you guys had a small encounter with a cragcat, which it was dispatched quite quickly, and made your way north towards Caer Dineval. Upon reaching the city, you saw that there was not a whole lot of activity going on. You saw that the town was pretty bare. You got some oil from a villager who was very much, on the poorer side of the scale. Purchased the oil fairly. You didn't steal, didn't have to extort or anything like that. But you got oil for your lamp that's going to be used to track elementals. When you were looking for refuge for the night, it was suggested that you try the castle at the top of the hill, where Vega was invited in quite quickly, as they seemed to have been expecting his arrival. Some discussions took place during that time, and you were allowed a bed for the night, and that you would speak to the soothsayer in the morning. Come morning time, the meeting with the soothsayer had come in her morning meal, was already there when you guys came in. She told you a number of things about the Duragar and Zardarok and his plans for the destruction of the 10 towns, and how the group of you seem to be linked in that endeavor. She gave you the stark warning to not go and try to undertake this too quickly, for they are not ready. You are not ready. And her dying words as she laid to rest was fucking breakfast, and hurling the plate of salmon towards Carcass, who was concerned about his food. And that's where we're going to pick up, in the room with everyone inside with the soothsayer. Did I miss anything?
Sam, I think we actually ended the night sleeping, right?
No, you guys, I thought that was first thing in the morning because it was breakfast.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No worries, no worries. So, let me get that room up, and there we are. So, the soothsayer Hethel has just frozen into ice and hurled the plate of food at you. It's just you and her in the room, the group of you. It doesn't seem like anything else is happening inside here. What would you guys like to do?
Um, I'm gonna look around and say, should we tell somebody that she just froze?
That would probably be a good idea, so as not to come across as the perpetrators of this event.
Zizix is gonna just walk up to her with intrigue
Mm-hmm.
and just pull out his monocle over his eye and then just start lightly tapping her with his finger.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check for that.
Uh, 16.
So it's pure ice. It's very sturdy, it's very solid, and it doesn't seem like this was natural, obviously. This is the work of some sort of magic. But you can tell that it's definitely ice.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to start searching for Kadrath, I believe his name was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start searching the castle for him to let him know what happened.
Okay. And you open the door and you see a few people standing outside of that room, and they look to you and they kind of look past you and see inside, and they say, "Oh, it happened. She's gone."
Yeah, you knew this was going to happen?
Perhaps it's best if Kadroth tells you himself. It's above my pay grade to really be able to divulge this information, so let me go get him for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks for the heads up, nobody. We appreciate it. We weren't at all caught off guard by this old woman turning into an icicle in front of us. You know, it was pretty cool, actually.
And he takes your words and takes them with him as he goes to fetch Kadroth, and maybe a matter of 5 minutes or so pass before he enters the hallway the which you're standing. And he asks, so how did the meeting go?
Oh, it went absolutely splendid, as you can see, as I motion inside to the icicle woman.
Yeah, she kept saying how she saw the end of her days, and it was when you all had arrived, so we knew this time was going to come.
Well, I would just like to say thanks for the heads up.
Well, it would be unwise for me to give you a heads up in case maybe you thought if you had met with her and she passed that you would just not meet with her.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but Jesus Christ.
She was adamant that this needed to happen. So, I took it in her best interest, in her wishes, to not interfere. So, apologies for any omission of such information.
No, I'm not. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm just very flustered. Flabbergasted, you might say.
Completely understandable.
I'm going to step up behind VegaCon and say, it was an upsetting sight.
She's better off, trust me. She lived a long life. And,
if you call that better off.
Go ahead and give me an insight check.
That would be an 11.
So you sense truthfulness coming from this guy. However, you glance over at the guards that are the one that had fetched him, and you see them kind of making eye contact with each other as those words leave his mouth.
Okay. I'm gonna remain quiet about that for now, until later.
Okay. So, in any case, I have an update for you, and I fear it's not a good one. You know, yesterday how you had mentioned that you are in need of tents? Well, unfortunately, those tents are no longer available. However, I have compensation for you for this, if that is alright with you.
Compensation of what kind?
And he pulls at his hip satchel, and he opens it up and he reveals 6 healing potions. And he said, this by far exceeds the value of what those tents would have been, and I feel like these could be of use to you, more so than us safely hidden here inside of this castle, very defensible castle.
With that, Zizix is gonna puck up and rush over and kind of grab the vials to start looking at what they are.
So, you would recognize these pretty quickly, that these are potions of healing. They're very standard in their bottle that they come in, and the color, and all that good stuff. So you recognize them immediately.
And then Zizix is gonna say, healing potions, what were we getting paid for again?
We were merely just offering a service of providing you with some shelter in the form of tents, but I think if this isn't enough for you, that maybe we can offer you a use of this building as your own. You can stay here for as long as you'd like. If you need to leave and come back, you're more than welcome to come back and use the rooms that you stayed in.
I have one question for you.
What is that?
Is there a lab?
A lab? Whatever do you mean?
Oh, a place where I can experiment with things and make up some stuff, tinker, that kind of stuff.
Hmm. We have a cold storage room that maybe we can repurpose, as quite frankly our supplies are drawing low. We might be able to reshuffle some things around to make that available to you.
Okay.
Yes, any friend of Vega's is a friend of ours.
After standing there, biting my trunk, so to speak, for a little while now, as Zizek said all that, I'm going to look up at him and say, "Thank you very much. These potions will help us tremendously. And thank you for all of your hospitality, everything you offered to us. We needed it. It's been very helpful. We will need tents in the future for sure, though. Do you know where we might find the nearest market?"
The nearest market. I think obviously it'd be Bryn Shander or possibly East Haven, but if you're willing to risk it a bit, you might be able to head north into Karakonik. They may have some resources available for you there.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yes. Like I said, anything that you need that we can provide, we shall.
Tip my,
You're breaking up there, Nick.
I'm gonna tip my hat to him and say, "Much obliged, friend."
And I will say, well, I don't know what I've done to deserve all this kindness, but I thank you very much.
We touched on that last night just a little bit, but I understand.
Either way, thank you very much. As I kind of shuffle nervously and kind of duck back out of the conversation.
Okay. And Kadroth looks to the rest of you and says, are you hungry by chance?
Zizix is gonna pipe up and say, do you have any chocolate milk?
No, unfortunately, we do not have any chocolate milk.
Aw, man, okay.
Chocolate is very hard to come by, and the milk we have is not from a cow.
And he's gonna raise an eyebrow at that. What do you mean?
We keep goats.
And he's gonna wipe his brow with his hand and say, well, phew, that's a relief. I didn't know if you're milking kobolds or something.
Have you ever tried to milk a kobold?
I mean, let's not talk about that.
I have nipples, Zizix. Can you milk me?
He will look Vega up and down, from toe to the top of his head. Well, I mean, I'm always up for anything.
That was not a legitimate offer. Please do not do that.
I'm going to step up here and say, need I remind you that this woman just died a very miserable, horrible death? Can we have a little respect for the dead, please?
And Kedroth will interject and say, no, this was all natural. It's all natural. That this kind of comes with the territory as he starts to clutch at his amulet, his triangle-shaped pendant that hangs from his neck. It is the embrace of our God that envelops us when we pass.
So you're telling me this was supposed to happen?
Yes, if you were to strike me down here in cold blood, I would envelop in ice as well.
Eclipse is going to flick her tail back and forth. How cruel. What kind of god would grant that sort of unnecessary mercy?
A very cold one.
Vega's gonna shuffle around awkwardly. Say, well, again, thank you very much for your hospitality. I think we should probably try and go find this Chewinga, so we should probably start gearing up.
Right. I don't want to keep you from your adventuring, as it seems so necessary for the survival of 10 towns.
Yeah, apparently.
Trust me, Hethel has been speaking of this moment non-stop. So, to know that it's not just some fever dream that she was having, takes a little bit of the heaviness off of my shoulders.
So, Lysander's gonna step up to Kadroth and say, so, do you know exactly what it is we're supposed to do in order to prevent the doom of the 10 towns?
She spoke of combating the Durgar in Zardarok, did she not?
Yeah, I wrote all that down. She said, in their fortress in the spine of the world, their forge is powered by a dragon heart. Yeah, she said eventually we need to make our way there, but we are not yet ready.
So what would be the first step?
Unfortunately, that's not something that I know. I just know that if it's meant to be, then it'll be meant to be.
I suppose so.
Well, I'm gonna suggest we just start with trying to find this Chewinga for now, and see where that takes us.
I think our first course of action, yes. I would be in agreement with you, friend. Make our way back to East Haven, collect our pay, maybe collect some tents for our journey ahead.
That sounds all right with me, says Eclipse.
Yeah. Let's get everybody gathered up and head out to find this fucking thing, I guess.
And Leah Ponte is going to pull Carcass aside and he says, Carcass, may I have a moment with you?
Okay, you may have a moment.
I think that it might be best if you travel with these companions while I help Zizix make his lab suitable while you guys are gone. I will stay here and I will make sure that everything is going according to plan, if that sounds alright.
Okay, Carcass will do what you say.
Thank you, my good friend. That is why you are my best friend.
Yes, we are best friends. Thank you.
And with that, Kadroth bows his head and walks back to his office, entering there, closing the door behind him, and the guards nearby, wearing those robes and same amulets, they ask, "Is there anything that we can help you with for the time being?"
Yeah, I'm gonna step up and acknowledge them and say, I noticed you two exchanged a glance at Kadroth's words regarding her death. Do you have anything you'd like to say about that of your own accord?
And they're gonna look at each other and then look back and make a persuasion check for me.
That would be a 10.
Well, and the one on the right looks back at you and he says, "Well, Kadroth and Hethel weren't on the best of terms. So when he said that a relief was lifted off of his shoulders, I kind of feel like it's just because Hethel's gone."
Is that how you truly feel?
That's kind of how I feel ever since Hethel has said that our deity doesn't really like Kadroth.
Why not?
She never explicitly said, but as someone who could see the future, I mean, who are we to question? Just a couple of guys sitting here and doing our due diligence protecting this fortress?
I suppose so. Anything else that you might want to add?
I don't believe so. I think that's pretty much the gist of it. Kadroth is a very tight-knit person when it comes to his personal beliefs. He would make a career politician. But I think that is the fact of it.
Thank you. No further questions.
Let me have Zizix make a intelligence check really quick.
Question: Is it something that I am checking from a magical?
No.
Oh no.
That would be a 25.
Oh boy. Alright. So you actually recognize the voice of one of these guards that are talking to you. And with that immense intellect of yours, you can recall immediately that one of the guards is talking to you. You've met before. He used to live until up about a week ago is the last time you've seen him. He used to live in Bremen. He is the son of an innkeeper there. The name of that is the Buried Treasures Inn.
Okay, and after hearing that voice, Zizix is gonna like perk up and say, "Hey, don't I know you?"
And he says, "Oh, you, Zizix? You're the one my mother kept talking about. Always shelling these little trinkets around town?"
That's me. Do you want to see any trinkets?
I have the only trinket I need, friend. And he grabs the amulet at his neck and says, "Please tell my mother that I'm okay. I'm sure she's worried. I know I left quite abruptly, but after I tried to leave town and venture off to go hunt some things to make dinner for the night, I was unfortunately lost in a blizzard that just swept right up. But finding this amulet was able to lead me back home. And from there, I knew that I had a choice to make, and I chose to come here. And just tell her that I'm okay, alright?
Zizix is gonna look at, like, directly at the amulet and say, where did you find that, and what does it do?
It's a symbol of our Lord, and I found it when I was lost. I was swept up in the blizzard, full of my cold winter gear, and I was still freezing to death, and I felt like I was on death's door. But I looked over to the pile of snow to my right as I had fallen to my knees, and I saw this. And so I grabbed it, and it gave me the warmth and security that I needed to make it back home.
Zizix is going to look at the other god. Does the other god also have the same amulet, or did
Yeah, they all have this
they all
amulet.
have them? Okay. Zizix is gonna say, "Well, that sounds very useful. Do you guys have any more of those that may be able to part with?"
Oh no, these are ours, and to be quite frank with you, they no longer have their warmth capabilities. They are just merely trinkets at this point, just useless little trinkets, but they helped us in our time of desperate need, and they fulfilled their duty.
Sorry. Vega's gonna perk up at that and kind of join the conversation and say, you said they don't have their warmth capabilities anymore. Would that be because your deity has been imprisoned?
No, that's not the case. He's always been imprisoned since, well, who knows how long. I can't ask him. He speaks to us, but we can't talk back, except for Kadrath, of course. But from what I understand, it was a trade to go into service with him and survive, or to die frozen in the cold.
I see. So the power in the amulet is kind of a one and done type of thing.
Yes, but we keep it to remind ourselves of the perils that would have been without him.
Okay, but him being imprisoned, how does he still have power and dominion if he's imprisoned? How can he still do things for you? How did he freeze the soothsayer earlier if he's imprisoned?
He's gonna make a religion check, and he rolled a nat 20. So this guy is very insightful into how devils and demons work. And so he says, even though he is imprisoned, he is still the ruler of the 6th level, and he is in chains, yes, but still in charge, and still has power that just speaks magnitudes about what he can offer us.
That's very interesting. So what negative effects does he feel by being imprisoned even then?
Put it this way, his prison is the layer of hell that he lives in. He is trapped there in his own dominion, unable to ascend, unable to descend further, but still has a layer of hell.
I see. Okay, so he's not imprisoned so much as contained?
What is containment but a prison?
Fair enough. Why?
How do you imprison a god?
That is beyond my knowledge, but if anyone could imprison a god, it would be another god.
Yeah, it is another god that has him imprisoned, as Kadrat had told me. He's imprisoned by Asmodeus, and all Vega will look kind of uncomfortable saying that name even.
That's gonna perk me up a little bit.
Okay.
Asmodeus, you say?
I assume that's to Billy.
Yes, sorry.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't know if my push to talk was working there. Asmodeus is who Kadrath had told me had imprisoned their god, Levistus. Am I pronouncing that right? As I look to one of the guards.
Yes, you have it right.
Yeah, so Asmodeus has imprisoned Levistus.
So how can a god serve his worshippers while he is imprisoned in a layer of hell? What kind of god is that to serve?
Well, and he clutches his amulet at his neck and he says, "A very powerful one."
And I'll kind of interject and say, I mean, he was able to help him without leaving his realm, so he must still have powers than ours, even from there.
That sort of answers my question.
Now, is there anything I can help you with? I know you are on your way.
Zizix will just pipe up and say, "I'll tell your mother you said hi."
Thank you, Zizix. I very much appreciate that. I know I left quite abruptly and was not the nicest to her in my reasoning for leaving, so thank you.
Well, maybe I'll see you back there one day.
It's possible. It's possible. Never say never, am I right?
Well, that's right. Anything is possible. I'll even make something just for you when you get back.
Oh, well, I appreciate that very much. Are you sure we can't interest you in salmon fillet with goat milk on the side?
Yes, I would love one of those, please and thank you, Eclipse says very quickly.
I'll get right on it. I will notify the chef, and we'll have them out, and you can take them to go if you'd like.
That sounds splendid. Thank you so much.
Perfectly splendid. He heads out into the kitchen, and you hear him speaking to the chef. If you guys want to wait there for a little bit or talk amongst yourself, what would you like to do?
If he comes back, or if he doesn't, I might just find someone else around and just kind of ask around if anyone has heard anything of Chewingas or where they might be found.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check for that.
That would be 17.
So you find one of them who has heard of Chewingas. He can't really say where they're known to congregate or where they like to hang out. But he can't say that he's seen one or heard of sightings here in this town.
Zizix is gonna look around the room to see if there's like a kind of a wide open space somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. You're not too far from the Great Hall.
Okay. He's gonna go over to that space and pull out the lantern and just sit it on the floor.
Okay.
And he's going to cast Identify as a ritual.
Okay.
And the way that Zizix casts Identify as a ritual is, he has to limber himself up. He does some stretches with his legs and his back and everything like that. And then he performs the ritual in a kind of a rain dance manner.
Okay. Yeah, very good. That'll take about 10 minutes to perform, I believe. So, while that's ongoing, what would everyone else like to do? Carcass, what's on your mind?
I am just very bored. Lots of people are talking, and I don't understand what they are saying. I would like to just sit down on the floor and eat the bones from the fish that the woman threw, since I have already eaten the fish.
While you're plucking at the bones from the salmon fillet, another plate of salmon with goat's milk splattered on top is served to you, and the chef says, "I hope you enjoy. It is one of my best recipes."
No, I do not like peas.
Oh, no. There are no peas here.
Okay, then I will eat this. Thank you.
And he'll go around to each one, and he'll present you guys both with your own plates. He says, "If you have to leave, if you would please leave the plates by the door, I would very much appreciate it. The less I have to cycle through them quickly and have to find replacement plates, I would appreciate it. There's a lot of mouths to feed here."
Eclipse will nod in thanks as she very hungrily eats up the fish, very contentedly.
Oh, I am glad you are enjoying it. And he kind of gives a second look to Lysander as he gives him the plate of fish, and he says, "I don't know if constructs like to eat, but you are welcome to this, or save it for later for maybe one of your comrades if you are not feeling up to it. I will take no offense."
I look down at the food and then back up at him. I don't eat, thank you, but if any of my friends would like it instead, it is theirs to have.
Absolutely, I will leave you with the plate.
And very excitedly, I'll say, yes, I will like the food.
So I will hold it out to him. It is yours, my friend.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. And the chef, after delivering all of the food, goes back into the kitchen where you start to hear the clattering of pans and utensils. Seems like he's starting on the next meal. So, Zizix, at this point your ritual has been completed, and you identify this as the Lantern of Elemental Tracking.
And as he gets that bit of knowledge, he's gonna just yell out, "I got it!" What exactly did it do?
Vega will glance over at him and say, "Oh yeah, what's that you got?"
So Sam, how exactly does this thing work?
So, the Lantern of Elemental Tracking, when you light the flame, if the flame glows green, you are in the vicinity of a mile or not a mile, 1,000 feet. You're within a 1,000-foot radius of an elemental, and it will flicker in the direction that you have to travel.
Okay. And Zizix will turn back to Vega and say, "Well, I know how this thing works. We Sam doesn't tell you how long the lantern lasts for."
It'll burn for about 6 hours on a fill up of oil.
Okay. So then Zizix will say, "Well, I know how this thing works, but we may need some more oil." So, does is there still a god in there or something like that?
Oh yeah, like you're in the main hall at this point. When you yelled, "I got it!" You caught a lot of them by surprise, and they kind of jump back to look at you. And they've heard this whole explanation. They all know what this thing does. You have their attention.
So I'll turn to one of the guards and say, does anyone know where we can get some oil?"
The kitchen door slams back open. "Did you guys say you needed some oil?"
Yeah, I need some for this lantern.
How much do you need?
I really don't know.
Okay, I'll send you off with something. Just give me a few minutes.
Well, thank you.
Yes, of course.
So then Zizix will just turn back to the to Vega and explain how this thing works.
Okay. Easy enough. You have the intellect to be able to really understand how things work and explain it simply.
And what did you say that thing was called there?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it has a specific name, but it's a lantern of elemental location.
Well, that's fantastic.
So what we can do is, I mean, we don't know exactly where this thing is. So, I mean, we could just put some oil in it now and see if that leads us to where we need to go.
First of all, I'm gonna kind of look around and look to one of the guards that's nearby, and just say, "Are there any elementals here? I know you had a soothsayer, so I just want to check before we light this thing up."
Not to our knowledge, no.
Okay. Well, if there are, you're about to find out, I suppose.
I suppose so.
So we should make sure that we're ready to go in case we need to travel. So, because we want to make sure that we have as much time with this oil as possible.
Is anybody not done eating yet? As I look over to Carcass.
I will look up at you and, I can take the food with me.
All right, just be sure to leave the plate for the chef there, because we don't want to be stealing their dishware, you know.
Okay, and I will take the bloody hides off of my horns and wrap the food up in them. And then I will look at Vegetable and say, okay, I am ready to travel.
Well, that's just wonderful, friend. Let's get ready to go then. Let's see what this lantern tells us.
All right, so you guys are ready to depart from Card and Eval?
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So, this would put you outside of the castle on your way out.
I just want to make sure before we left that I got the rest of the oil from the cook.
Oh yeah, sorry. You absolutely did.
Okay. How much oil or what exactly did he give me?
He would have given you about a quart of oil.
Okay, great.
So it's morning time. You guys know that you only have sunlight now in the 10 Towns area between the times of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So you guys are up earlier than the sun has risen. So you have some time before daylight breaks. It's very brisk, very cold outside. There is some snow falling from the sky, not an overly huge amount, but some snow. So if you were looking to track something, it would be a little bit harder to, unless you were right on its tail, to be able to track it successfully with the snow falling overhead. You see there, down below from Caer Dineval, or the castle that sits on top of the hill, you see lights coming from the building just sitting at the base of the mountain. And when you passed it, you saw it was a closed tavern, but it seems to be active at the moment.
Seeing this, I'm gonna say, hey, if that lantern isn't pointing us anywhere after you light it, we might want to pop in there and see if anybody knows anything about a Chewinga.
Zizix is gonna say, well, I mean, we could always just go in and ask before.
Couldn't hurt.
Alright. You guys make the trek downhill from Caer Dineval Castle, and you come to the doors of the Uphill Climb, the name of the tavern. It's a very small tavern, but it seems to be pretty lively at the moment, as people have already woken up and they're sort of waiting for the light to come out to get their peak menial tasks of the day out of the way with what little sunlight they have at their disposal. You see a number of people ready to go hunting. You see a few people who are merchants that are gearing up for the rest of the day. Doesn't look like they're very good merchants, but they have their pack of wares with them and continue to drink their warm mead and take little snacks from what they have behind the counter. You see the bartender standing across and waves you in. He says, "Welcome to the Uphill Climb. What could I get for you?"
I'll walk up to the bar and ask, how much for an ale?
An ale, that will be a simple 2 silver. How about that?
You got it, friend.
And without any hesitation, he pours it out, pours it for you, and serves it up. Says, enjoy. Can I get you guys anything else?
Zizix will raise his hand.
Oh, yes. What can I get you, sir?
I don't suppose you have chocolate milk by chance?
Chocolate is very hard to come by up here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm finding that. You know, it just reminds me of home, you know.
Tell you what, if you can find some chocolate, I will gladly make you chocolate milk. Though I only have goat's milk, it is, it's still pretty good, I'd bet.
Well, I don't really have money to buy any milk. Could we maybe do a trade?
Well, what do you have?
What is your favorite smell in the world?
I miss the days of lavender in Cormier, but yeah, lavender. I would say lavender is my favorite smell.
Okay. So Zizix is gonna take another rock out of his pocket, and as he grasps it, he's gonna imbue it with the smell of lavender.
Okay.
And pass it over to him and say, well, what do you think about this?
And he takes a deep sniff. And he doesn't take much, it's just emanating the smell now. And he says, wow, it smells like the real thing. How did you do this?
Well, you know, I just, you know, I pick things up along the way. And, you know, I always like thinking of home. It's been a long time since I've been there, so, you know, I know what it feels like. And would you trade some milk for this stone? I know it's just a stone, but the smell won't go away. At least I don't think so.
You know, I'll take you up on this here. And he gets a little mug, appropriately sized, and fills it up with milk, and he slides it your way. On the house, I suppose. Fair trade?
Well, gee, thanks, mister.
You're welcome, thank you.
And he'll take his milk and kind of walk over towards, like, where he sees some other merchants.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Vega's gonna walk over to the merchants also. Not with a lot of hope, but he's gonna ask around and see if any of them have tents. And when inevitably they tell him that they don't, he'll start asking about chewingas and such.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation roll, because yes, indeed, they do not have tents.
Oh my god, I'm shocked. I got an 11.
Yeah, nobody is really familiar with even the term chewinga. You describe them to the best of your ability, but everyone's just still coming up empty.
Okay, well, kind of what I expected, but I will thank them for their time.
And Zizix, what did you want with the merchants?
Zizix is just gonna say, just kind of wave his hand in the air and say, well, hello, fellow merchants.
And the dwarf amongst them speaks up and says, "Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, thanks.
You a new merchant in town?"
Well, I mean, I'm not setting up shop here, if that's what you mean.
Oh, just passing through, huh?
Oh yeah, we're on a mission, actually.
Mission. Merchant on a mission. You're making some coin, I gather.
And Zizix is gonna wink, and then tap his nose.
Got an itch.
Well, don't we all?
I suppose so.
So, he's gonna continue on and say, what kind of stuff do you got to sell?
Me, I buy food from the hunters and from the fishers. Cardinavel is good fishing. So we take the fish that we don't need and travel to other towns that seem to be in more need than we are and sell it for a profit.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of fish around.
The locks shall provide.
It sure does. I mean, I currently reside in Bremen, and there's a lot of fisher boats and things out there too.
Yeah, that there is.
I don't know if you've been through there, but if you're looking for some fish, that may be a good place.
Well, keep it in mind. We appreciate the tip.
Of course, of course. Well, I do have a question.
What is it?
You know what? It's just lost my mind.
Oh, you better go find it.
And then Zizix is just gonna like kind of turn around 180 and just slowly walk away.
Okay. Anybody else have any business they wish to conduct inside the tavern?
No.
All right.
Not outside of what was already stated.
All right.
Well, we might want to ask some people other than the merchants if they've heard of Chewingas in the area too.
So your investigation role kind of encompassed everyone that was in the tavern. So you've done a pretty thorough job asking around on that.
Okay. Well, then I say we go outside and light the lantern up, you know?
All right. Would you like to light the lantern, Zizix?
Yeah, so what he'll do is he'll set it down on the ground and kind of exclaim to the group. This is a job for somebody with steady hands. We don't want any of the oil to, get outside of it. So stand back and I'll put the oil in. And as he's putting the lamp down and getting the oil ready, it's very noticeable that his hand is shaking because of how cold it is.
Eclipse will step forward next to him and ask, "Do you require assistance, little one?"
He'll look up and check to see if she's like shivering like he is.
She is not.
And he'll just slowly pass the oil over to her.
Why, thank you. And she will pour the oil into the lantern.
Okay, yeah. You oil up the lantern. It's ready to light. Would you like to light it?
Yes, it shall be lit.
Okay. So, a puff of flame exudes from the lantern, and it reveals a clear, burning light. Yellow, shades of red. Natural light.
Okay, so So that means there's no elementals within, what'd you say, 1,000 feet?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess we just walk on, keep it lit, and hope it turns green at some fucking point. Yeah?
It would seem that way, yes.
All right. Where would you guys like to go?
The old lady said north of here is where she heard they were, didn't she?
I believe Kadroth said that this morning, that you might have good luck over there, taking a look around.
Well, let's head that direction, I suppose.
Okay. And you guys are familiar enough with the travel between 10 towns to know that your journey is going to be about 2 hours long or so, through the trail north to Karkonik.
And has the sun come up yet?
I wouldn't say so. I'd say you would be arriving. The sun would be rising about an hour into your trek. So you'd
Okay.
assume.
Yeah, that sounds okay, I think.
Okay. So, onward and out into the tundra. And let's go ahead and establish a marching order.
Well, since I'm assuming Eclipse is carrying the lantern, so I think she should probably be in front.
Okay. And who's going to be taking up the rear? Sorry.
Sorry, you're fine. I'll hang out with Eclipse up towards the front.
I would like to bring up the rear.
Okay. And that is all noted. How fast would you guys like to travel? Again, we have the little bit of snow coming down overhead to where the overhead clouds are actually thick enough that you guys are aware that even when the sun rises, really the amount of light that comes from the sky above is minimal, just with even the faintest of overcast.
All right. So while we're walking, I'm going to address the rest of the party. So if we come across one of these chewingas, do we have a plan to contain it?
Well, I don't think we have to contain it. All the lady said was we needed to talk to it, and it would somehow tell her what kind of people we were from talking to us, is what she said. So, like she said, we didn't have to capture it, we didn't have to kill it, we didn't have to hurt it, we didn't have to, all we had to do was talk to it. That's what I remember her saying.
I recall that myself, but in case we come across one of these little fairies, which in my experience have not been so cooperative.
Well, there's a lot of different kinds of fairies. I'm sure some of them are little fuckers, but that doesn't mean all of them aren't.
Perhaps.
I mean, you're being a bit racist to your friend.
I doubt it.
What's with Vega and the race card? Man.
I was about to say I agree.
It's just funny.
It is, it's good. So, as you guys start to set out, heading north, you realize that the snow is falling a bit harder and harder. starts to be a little bit more steady as it starts to fall from the sky in big globs of chunk. In about 30 minutes to 45 minutes into your journey, the wind starts to pick up. It's stronger. It's starting to get stronger. The sun isn't slated to rise just yet, but these winds, these gusts of winds, are cutting the temperature like a knife further than they've already been. It's starting to feel like there might be a little blizzard coming in. What would you guys like to do?
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on globs of chunk.
Well, you know how like snow will accumulate and make these huge globs of snowflakes? Especially if it's windy. Anyway.
Globs of chunk is a good phrase. I am going to use
globs of chunk. Globs and chunks.
Well, I'm gonna look around and say, well, we still don't have any fucking tents.
Very astute, Vega. Those won't bring any tents our way for sure.
Well, what do we want to do about this, guys? If this blizzard keeps picking up, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep going.
Is there any shelter or anything nearby that we can see?
So, go ahead and make a perception check.
That would be a 13.
13, you're not really seeing anything of real use. There's no large mountains to try to crest up on and find a cave. There's no forest nearby. It's just you and the elements of this rolling tundra.
What if I try to smell for a tent?
Oh my god.
I will not have you roll on that because it would just be unsuccessful.
Well, shit.
You could make a nature check, though. Being the druid.
Alright. Yeah, what you would think my nature would be better than it is, but I'm gonna roll.
Well, you're an aspiring druid.
Yeah. Oh, and I rolled shit too, so, no.
Okay, well, you know, there's a blizzard coming in. That's the best of your knowledge. So, what are you guys choosing to do at this point? Continue on until it just gets too rough to continue and just settle down, or do you want to push through it?
I mean, it's either we sit here and get in the blizzard or keep moving and try and head it out, I guess. But
should we mayhaps start heading back to town and try to beat it?
How far are we into our trek right now?
You're about at the midway point.
That's what I was afraid of. So I say we just try to power through to our destination, and if it gets too difficult, we fucking try and figure something out then, I guess.
It's okay. What does everybody else say?
I'm perfectly fine powering through this, says Eclipse, her tail waving back and forth.
Zizix is going to take out no, I thought I had Yeah, I got a torch. He's gonna take out his torch and light it.
Okay, go ahead and make a survival check.
That'd be a 10.
Yeah, you're able to light your torch, and it was a little tough, hence the check, just because of the amount of snow falling at the moment. But you're able to get it lit, and it's burning, providing a little bit of extra light.
And then once I got that lit, I'll say, let's get moving. Do any of you guys need a torch? It'll provide a little bit of warmth.
Not I. Does any...
I'll be okay for now. Thank you, though.
Fine. You keep that to yourself.
Okay, well, just let me know if you change your mind.
Would Carcass like a torch?
No, I am just going to walk right next to Zizix, uncomfortably close.
Alright.
Does Zizix kind of just sense body temperature coming from Carcass? Like, is he exuding any kind of heat?
I mean, yeah, you can feel it. He's quite the bigger creature, and you'd be able to feel the warmth coming out from him.
Then Zizix probably wouldn't mind.
Alright. So onward, you guys start traveling through this snowy trail north. The wind starts to pick up even more. The snow starts to fall even heavier to where you can no longer see further than 100 feet out. 15 minutes go by like this. Your visibility gets even shorter. You can barely see 50 feet out. The wind is almost unbearable, but it is strong enough to the point that it blows out Zizix's torch.
Well, that's not good.
How long did you say since we decided to keep going?
About 15-20 minutes.
Do we think we can keep this up for another 45 minutes? Or should we try and stop?
I'll leave that decision entirely up to you.
For the sake of some of the members in our party, I think that we should stop.
Okay, but we don't have any shelter.
That maybe we could use those who are bigger and less susceptible to surround those who get cold. We do still have those bed rolls if we need to cover someone.
Sam, is there a way that Zizix can maybe check to see if he can determine if the storm was about to pass over, or like, I guess, how long he thinks it's gonna last for?
Yeah, you can make a nature check to try to surmise that.
It would be a nat 20.
Okay, well that's very good. So, you're kind of under the notion that maybe the worst of the storm is yet to come, but with its slow buildup, it's going to be a quick peak and then it will subside.
Would I have any kind of sense as to how long I think it would take to get to that peak?
With that nature roll, you feel just thinking about that peak is giving you the hairs on your arm to stand, goosebumps. You feel like it's pretty imminent.
Okay, so then Zizix will kind of say to the group, well, guys, I think this storm's about to get worse, but I don't know why. I just think that once it hits a point, it'll just die off. So maybe camping out here for a little bit may be beneficial.
Okay, well let's try it. Let's just try to hunker together for warmth and hope it passes.
So Zizix will look around to see if there's like any felled trees or anything like that we could use to build a fire.
With your visibility being so short, you don't see any trees, you just see a blanket of white. But go ahead and make a perception check.
And it's a 14.
You start to notice a figure that seems to be just lurking in the white. You see subtle movements of off-white and white. Looks big.
Then Zizix will just go, guy, and then just point his finger to where he sees the figure, not being able to get, out his sentence.
Okay, anyone who's looking that way will also have to make a perception check, though at disadvantage. And I only gave you a straight roll, Zizix, because you have a single monocle that is protecting your eyes, just so we're clear.
I got a 7.
I got a 3.
I got an 8.
You guys don't see anything out there. You don't see what he's pointing at.
All right,
I'm gonna.
If I don't see anything, I'm gonna try and smell in the direction that he's pointing.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to give you a flat roll on this because the wind would be just pushing any smells that you'd be trying to find away. So just a flat perception roll.
Okay, I don't smell shit.
You smell the icy cold. Runs frigid.
Okay, then I'll just kind of look at Zizix and say, what are you pointing at there, friend?
There's something out there.
I'm gonna walk up to him. What is it that you see, friend?
I don't know. I just saw a figure. It was moving about. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable.
What did it look like?
I don't know. The snow's too thick. I just know I saw something.
Lysander, as you look up from talking to Zizix, make a perception check at disadvantage.
That would be a 22.
Wow, that's very nice.
I rolled the same number twice.
Behind Zizix, about 30 feet, you see a large creature with a off-white colored coat with streaks of red. You see it has large horns and deep eye sockets. You can identify this as your background would let you, as a Yeti, and it seems to be trying to creep up closer to Zizix.
Okay. I'm going to address the party. Look alive, ladies and gentlemen, we've got company. I see it, buddy.
Same. Just how tall is the snow, like that we're walking through?
The snow now is probably almost a foot tall, even though this is just a road. It's really piled on in the last 8 hours or so that this has been ongoing.
Okay, Zizix is just gonna duck and just dive into the ground.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and make your stealth check.
With disadvantage, that's a 16.
Not bad. The Yeti that was stalking you seems to keep his eyes on the location that you had ducked down, but his eyes rise and they meet Lysander's, and you feel the cold stare of a Yeti, a very hungry Yeti.
Alright. I'm going to ready my crossbow. I'm going to put an arrow in there.
Okay.
Does everybody else see that?
At this point, everyone's passive perceptions would be able to see as it's drawn closer, since where it was originally trying to stalk.
Oh yeah, I see it. As my weapons as well.
Okay. Starts to draw closer and closer. It's about 20 feet out from you at this point. Eyes going back from the party down to where Zizix dropped, looking back at you carefully.
I'm going to fire an arrow at its feet.
Okay, go ahead and I guess I won't make you roll for that. That's an intended miss, right?
Correct. I'm trying to scare it off.
Okay, that's fine. So you fire it at its feet. Do you accompany that with anything? Do you yell at it or anything like that?
I yell, "Get out of here!"
Alright, go ahead and make an intimidation check.
Oh, that's a 12.
And you see the Yeti stop in its tracks, and it starts to walk backwards from you, keeping its eyes straight onto you and the rest of the party before it just descends back into the white wall that surrounds it.
I'm gonna walk up and keep my eye on that white wall and retrieve my arrow from the ground. All
Okay.
the while just staring at it as it backs off.
Yeah, easy enough. As you retrieve your arrow, you feel the wind starting to cut into your clothing even less. You feel the wind dying down a little bit. The snow is not falling as heavily as it was once before, but as your visibility recovers, you don't spot the Yeti anywhere.
Okay, that's good. Gonna turn to everybody. Maybe he got the message.
Well, it sure looks that way, says Eclipse, lifting the lantern to look around. Shall we continue on?
Yeah, I say so. I'm gonna go to the spot that Zizix dove into the snow and dig him out.
Okay.
Let him...
And as you're digging him out, because he doesn't really know what's going on, he's gonna start like yelling, like, "Oh, let me go! Let me go!"
Hey, it's me, your metal friend.
Oh, did you get it? Did you kill it?
No, but I scared it off.
You mean it's still out there?
It is, but it seems to be leaving us alone. I just say we keep an eye on the tree line.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. And he'll kind of creep up to Caucus and just kind of really get uncomfortably close to him.
And Carcass will reach down and pat you on the head. I'll say, "It is okay. Pointy said I cannot kill any of you."
And as Caucus says that, he takes one step away from Caucus with concern on his face.
And I will just continue to smile very big at you.
And Zizix will just very nervously thanks for not killing me.
You are welcome. It is nice to kill things, but I am not allowed to kill you right now.
Yeah, Zizix's eyes he just goes bug-eyed and heads towards Lysander and kind of stands next to him.
You all right there?
Yeah, why do people want to kill me?
What was that? Kind of cut out on me there.
Why do I feel like people want to kill me?
Why would you say that?
Well, the big guy over there just said he's not allowed to kill me yet.
Did he now? I'm gonna look up Marcus.
Okay. Carcass, you see Lysander turn towards you with squinty eyes. He has no eyebrows.
I will put my hand up and wave frantically in the air to him. Hello! Hello, friend.
I'm gonna walk over to him.
Alright.
Alright, I'm gonna address Carcass. Like, hey, so my friend over there, the gnome with the pink beard.
Yes, I see him. He was right there. I know where he is. Hello!
He just came up to me and he said that he's afraid that you're gonna kill him.
Oh. No, Pointy said I cannot kill any of you.
I would heed that instruction.
What?
listen very well.
Okay, yes, I have ears. I can listen well.
So it would be good for you to listen to your friend Leoponte about not killing us.
Oh, yes, he is always right. He is much smarter than everyone else.
I'm sure he tells you that. Is there a reason that you would feel the need to kill any of us in this party?
Oh, no, I am not hungry. Thank you.
You would find me mighty difficult to digest, my friend.
Yes, it is funny. I take it in jest. You're right. Haha.
We don't kill our friends, right?
Yes, Pointy said not to kill anyone even though you have the thing I want.
What thing do you want?
I like the thing that brings the light.
The lantern?
Sure.
And you were willing to kill somebody to get that lantern, and Leoponte told you not to?
Yes, he said I could have the lantern later, but not to kill you.
I don't think that's his to give, my friend.
Oh, no, he did not say we would get. He said we would just have it later. That it would be ours in the end. He's very smart.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Carcass,
Yeah, Marcus is mean.
we're all friends here, right?
Yes, I draw you. You're very nice thing.
I remember, and you did a very good job.
Yes,
I just
Marcus is
wanna-
very good drawer.
Yes, Carcass is a very good drawer. Now, Carcass, we are friends. We are all friends here, right?
Yes, Carcass has many friends here.
And we do not kill our friends, right?
Yes, Pointy said not to.
Okay, but we don't kill our friends regardless of whether or not Leponte said so. You are
Okay.
you are very strong and you are very mighty.
Yes, Carcass is strong.
But there is no honor in killing friends.
And Zizix is gonna pipe up and say, guys, just remember we have a Yeti out here. While I appreciate, you not killing us, Carcass, I think that we should be more concerned with the Yeti.
Oh, okay. I will kill Yeti for you.
No. We don't need to do that yet. Tell you what. Leponte is not here, and you listen to him. You listen to what he says, right?
Yes, he is my best friend.
Well, I'll be your friend today while he is gone.
Okay, I like new friends. Hello.
Hello. So, I say, let's leave the Yeti alone, and if he comes over and tries to start trouble, he's all yours.
Okay, Lies. I will be your friend today and kill Yeti for sticks.
How cute.
Thank you. Let's move on, shall we?
Okay, we can move on. Everyone, we should move on.
Very good. Thank you,
All right.
my mighty friend.
You are welcome.
With that, you guys continue on your journey north to Karakonic, and the journey much more smoother now. A little bit of deep snow in pockets here and there on the trail, but luckily the signposts keep you on track. You start to see the large hill that lies in the distance. The hill that is called Kelvin's Cairn, sorry. And at the foot of Kelvin's Cairn, you see the small settlement that is surely Karakonic. Venturing into town, you guys enter from the southwest side and head north through town. You see signposts that say hook, line, and sinker now open, and that is the name of the tavern establishment here. And walking through town, suddenly the lantern turns green, starts pointing to the north.
We're getting close, gents, says Eclipse, holding the lantern higher for them to see.
So,
We'll say, see, I told you it would work.
So, are you guys going to be following the direction of the lantern at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you start traveling north through town, rows of houses. You see a large establishment to the northernmost part of town. And just outside of those last set of rows, you see a small house that seems to be setting by itself. Windows wide open, and you start to hear a commotion coming from that direction.
Eclipse listen further to see if she can distinguish what's going on.
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check.
That's a 20.
Very nice. So you hear the voice of a woman that seems to be yelling at the top of her lungs that something's been stolen. She's yelling, "Why are my windows all open? Why is my cutlery missing? What is going on?"
Eclipse will turn to the rest of the party and say, "That woman appears to have been burgled. Shall we assist?"
I feel like it would be the neighborly thing to do.
Indeed. And Eclipse starts walking over in that woman's direction.
Alright. So approaching the house, the door is wide open, and she's ranting and raving about how she can never keep any heat in the house because for some reason her windows keep opening all by themselves, and she can't find her cutlery, she can't find any silverware to use, and she is just frustrated beyond belief.
Excuse me, ma'am, we couldn't help but overhear your commotion from the street. What seems to be troubling you?
I'll tell you what's been troubling me for the past week. I have not been able to keep my house warm. I have to go to the tavern while I light the fire in my house to warm it back up because the windows are always open, the draft comes in, and when I come back, even though I've shut them, they're open again. I don't understand what's going on.
Like a cold predicament.
I don't appreciate your pun.
I'm gonna lean over to him and quietly say, I do.
My apologies, ma'am. As I tip my hat back to her. Let's see if we can help out. I'm gonna go walk around the house to where these open windows are, see if I can spot any footprints in the snow.
Okay. Go ahead and make a survival check.
That would be a 19.
19, yeah. That's pretty good normally. Unfortunately, a blizzard just came through, and all of these tracks that might have been there are covered up in fresh powder.
Damn.
But, Eclipse, you see that your lantern is still pointing to the north.
Okay.
Which direction is the house that we're standing at currently?
You would be traveling past the house. So the house is to the north of you.
Perhaps we should look about this house. It might be of some use to us.
So did you say you're going in or around?
Inside.
Okay.
She is going to ask the woman of the house if that's alright if they take a look around.
Sure. Go ahead. I'm gonna head to the inn. Just close all my windows for me if you don't mind.
It's not a problem.
Thank you. And she kind of scuttles away.
Vega's gonna kind of cock his head and just say, mighty trusting of a random group of strangers that just walked the fuck up onto her. But alright.
I mean, all she is missing. She doesn't have much else to lose.
And looking around inside the house, you find that to be the case. She doesn't have much in the ways of things that she could lose that she would really care about. Maybe some sentimental stuff, but they have no monetary value from what you can tell. It does seem like some things are in conspicuous places. You're not sure if that's from her ravenously searching for whatever she was looking for, or if it was the byproduct of someone rummaging through. But the lantern continues to flicker north.
I'm gonna look in the kitchen. Is there any signs of footprints in there from the windows having been opened that they might have left something on the floor?
Sure, go ahead and make a survival check.
That's 18.
You do catch these tiny footprints. They are smaller than Zizix's, and his are pretty small.
I'm gonna call Zizix and Vegacon over. You recognize this trek?
Would I?
Remind me, did you guys find books on Chewingas? I can't remember if you did or not.
I don't
No.
think so. No.
So I would give you an intelligence check at disadvantage.
Okay. You said a check, not a saving throw, correct?
Yes.
I got a 9.
Yeah, you can't really pin down what this. You know, it's tiny. It could be. You know, it's bigger than a fairy, but it's definitely some small creature.
Well, I'm not quite sure what it is. But let's see if we can tell where it goes. Well, I guess it would just go back out the fucking window.
Yeah, it does. Elephant F-bomb.
Would that be the direction that the lantern is flickering towards?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. Eclipse has the lantern. I'm gonna call her over and ask her, would you mind to set that lantern up here on the windowsill?
She does that.
Okay. It continues to flicker north.
So in the opposite direction of the window of this house?
Yeah.
Then my suspicions that this might be our little troublemakers, these Chewingas we're looking at, seem to have been alleviated.
Well, if we would like to head in that direction, we should close up her house at least before we head out.
I like that Matt in chat is thanking Billy for being here.
Yeah, I just saw that. I said hi to Al. I said hi, Paul.
Alright, so you guys exit the cabin and you start to follow the trail led by the lantern north. So as you continue to follow the flame of the lantern, you see a small structure kind of way off to the side there in a small little hillside, and it looks like almost an igloo.
The Eclipse will lift the lantern towards said igloo. Does the light shift at all?
Yep, it points right at it.
I think that's our spot, gentlemen.
Well, let's go check that shit out then.
Alright. How would you like to approach?
Well, I think we should have some of the more friendlier faces go and maybe take a knock on the door.
I was gonna say with vigorous blood frenzy, but okay.
First observation is that there is no door. It's just open, but you can't see inside of it from the angle that you're approaching it from.
I was gonna suggest we all just walk up like cartoon characters when they're trying to be sneaky, you know, like take the Panther theme playing.
All right, so you all want to roll stealth at disadvantage, is what I'm hearing.
Sure.
I mean that's my normal roll, so yeah. That's cool.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, if you guys would like to stealth up, go ahead and make a group stealth check. So everyone rolls individually. Not at disadvantage. I'm not going to force everyone to do that. Zizix, you still at disadvantage.
Oh, I see how it is.
Well, you know, that just be how it is.
Pick on the gnome. Okay. Zizix with a 21 at disadvantage.
No way.
I got a 20, not natural.
Alright.
I also got 20 not natural.
Yeah, the fucking elephant got an 11.
That's great. Carcass, how about you?
Carcass is at 23.
You were walking so carefully.
How is the fucking Minotaur stealthy? And yeah,
I mean, he doesn't really have toes to tippy toe on, does he?
Hoofs. Tippy hoof.
Like ballerinaing kind of on the tip of his hoofs.
Sure. Why not?
I was muffling the clomp of his hooves.
So who's taking point?
term for it, so I could like sound like a pompous asshole here, but the only term I could think of is plie, and I don't think that's
No!
right.
So who is taking point?
Lies said he wants friendly faces, so I will stealthily take the lead with a giant smile on my face.
Alright.
That would be very good, my friend. I'm right behind you.
So inside of this tiny igloo, you peer in. Make a perception check.
Everyone or just Carcass?
Just Carcass, because he's in the lead.
Perception is an 8.
Alright. That's good enough. You see 3 tiny creatures inside, sitting in a circle, silverware in hand, and one of them seems to be stabbing the snow at the bottom of this igloo, and then pushing the snow into the face of another. And these creatures look like this. They're very small, so they're not that big. But they're covered in straw. They have these forks, and it looks like they're feeding each other, is what it looks like. And with you entering, your horn kind of scrapes against the roof just a little bit, just so ever so slightly, that all 3 of them turn to look at you.
I will look back at them. See, hello, Carcass is me.
And
What do you eat?
they wave back at you, and then the one holding the fork comes up and presents you with the fork full of snow.
I will take a big bite of the snow.
And you he feeds you the snow, and you bite down, and you kind of clamp down on the fork, and it actually pulls from its hands, but it seems to be jumping around, and it claps for joy, and then it looks back to the others and walks over to it, and it extends its hand out in a motion and inviting you inside.
I will go inside with the little thing.
All right, and then it keeps its hand extended, but then it looks and points with its other hand at the fork.
Yes, that is a fork. That is very good.
It
I
starts
like it.
It starts opening and closing its hands with its arms extended out at you.
Oh, what do you want?
And then it starts pointing again.
Oh, you want the fork? Okay. And I will take out one of my javelins and pierce it into the snow and then put it towards him.
And then he looks really confused. And he starts looking at the javelin and he starts climbing up on top of it. And then he's going to use it as leverage to get up closer to the fork and try to grab it from your mouth.
Oh, no, this is my fork now.
And you see its open hands grasping turn into a clenched fist.
Oh, little fella. I am not supposed to kill my friends.
So you guys are just outside watching all this happen inside of the igloo. What would you guys like to do at this point? Your presence is still unknown to them.
Oh, this is all happening inside the igloo.
Yes.
Then I would like to kind of poke my head around so I can see in.
And you see currently a small Chewinga climbing a javelin in the snow, trying to grab at Carcass, and then clenching its fists, seemingly in rage.
I'm gonna go, hey there, hey, hello.
Two of the others, they kind of lean in opposite directions to look around Carcass and the other Chewinga, and they start pointing. And the Chewinga on the javelin, he hops off the javelin and he starts coming straight up to you. And he starts waving his hands in the air and then pointing at Carcass, and then he makes a motion with his hands like he's holding something, and then driving it into the snow and putting it to his mouth, but then points back to Carcass. He's trying to explain himself.
I'm gonna look a little confused and say, okay, hold on. Do you mind if I come in?
And he turns around and he waves his hand on to have you come in, but then he turns back around and he looks at you. And then he starts looking at the entrance. It's a little bit too small for you to really go in.
Okay.
But with a dexterity check, you can try.
Oh god. Okay. Yeah. Great. No, if I notice it's too small, I'm not gonna try for fear of knocking their little fucking igloo down.
Okay.
Maybe we can invite them.
I will look around with the look of, oh shit, I don't think I'm gonna fit. And then I'll say, could you all come out? I have other friends out here too who would like to meet you, and we'll help you figure out whatever you're upset about if you come out here to talk to us.
Okay, and it turns back around and it starts almost like knocking on a door on Carcass's back as high as it can reach, and then it goes over to its other Chewinga buddies and motions them to come outside, and then they all start tugging on Carcass's cape to try to get him out.
Oh, I'm going to ignore them and take the fork and start digging in and eating more snow.
Vega, you can see them pulling on Carcass's cape while Carcass seems to be eating snow.
Yeah. Hey, Carcass, buddy. Could you come out here with the rest of us, please?
Yes, but they invited Carcass for food. So I am a little busy right now.
Okay, but the food you're eating is snow. There's plenty of it out here. And they're coming out here so we can all talk together because not all of us will fit in there. So if you come out here too, we can all be together and eat all the fucking snow you want together.
Okay, I will come outside with you then.
Thank you.
So, Carcass comes out, and the Chewingas luckily stopped pulling on his cape and made sure he left. And then they go outside and they look to you, Vega, and they start to sit on each other's shoulders, and then they start wobbling around like they're stumbling, bumbling, and then they start to motion that they've grabbed something and then stuck it into their mouths, and then just start waving their hands in the air like, "Oh man, look at me," trying to explain that. Well, let's make an insight check to see if you can kind of surmise what their explanation of this interpretive dance is.
Can do. That would be a 23.
Yeah, you pick up on their signing very effectively. They're basically saying that this bumbling oaf came in and we invited him for food, and then he took our fork that we were using to eat.
Okay. Hey, Carcass, buddy.
Yes, vegetable.
I think they're a little upset because they were trying to share food with you, but you have kept their fork and they would like it back.
Oh, I see. But I eat the food, but this is my fork now.
It's not though. They let you use it, but it's their fork.
Yes, it is a little shiny, so it belongs to me now.
You can't just keep other people's things, buddy. That's gonna cause some problems.
Oh yes, eat the things, and I will try and eat the fork.
No, please do not eat the fork. It is not yours.
I will give them the javelin. I already offered it.
The thing is, they don't want the javelin, they want their fork back.
You see at this point that one of them has grown frustrated and hopped off the top of the shoulders of the Chewinga pyramid and starts looking at his friends and points over at the cabin and starts to walk over that direction.
Okay.
I'm gonna motion for it and say, hold on. I'm trying to get you your fork back, I promise.
They start stamping their feet in the ground in circles, fists clenched.
Does anybody have a fork in their mess kit that they would be happy to give to these little creatures?
Yes, I have a mess kit.
Then you would already have a fork, my friend.
Yes, they can have that fork. This one is mine.
What difference does it make?
I am not using that one.
Can you show me that fork, Carcass?
Yes, I can, and I I will get my mess kit out and open it and show him the fork.
Okay. Is it silver just like the other one?
Yeah, it's just as shiny.
Can I see your new fork and the mess kit fork, Carcass, and I hold my hands out?
Yeah, I will hand him my mess kit fork, but I will keep the other one in my mouth.
Okay.
Here you go.
All right. So I'm going to turn around and display the fork to the three creatures. Here we
All right.
go, friend. And I hand it to one of them who will take it.
Maybe. Let me see. So they go up and they look at the fork. They both, all three of them start to turn to look to each other, and they take the fork at first, and then they try to bend it back and forth. They slap it on the ground into the snow to listen to the sounds that it makes, and then they look back to each other once more, and they nod, and they take it, and they wave it at you, and then they start to head back inside the igloo.
As they start to head back inside, I'll say, "Oh, wait there, friends. We would like to talk to you, get to know you. I mean, I guess you'll be doing more listening and miming than talking, but we can talk, and you could mime in response."
So one of them looks back at you. The others seem intent on going back inside, and that Chewinga comes up to you and looks at your belt and looks at one of the purple flasks that you have on your belt loop and starts to poke at it and looks at your bag and is looking around, and then it just finally takes a few steps back from you and sits and kind of holds its arms out like, what?
All right, well, I will sit down in front of it and motion for everyone else to join us.
Eclipse will sit next to Vegacon in front of the little creature.
I'll sit on the other side of Vegacon. Have
Okay.
a little pack here.
All right. And it seems to be sitting in crisscross applesauce and starts leaning back with its arms in the snow, and it's just looking at you all.
All right, well, I don't know what to say to this thing. Jesus. Anybody got any ideas?
Eclipse, what say you? You seem good with words.
Lysander,
well,
as your mouth opens, you catch a snowball, a tiny, tiny little snowball that goes right into your mouth, and then its arms raise up in success and double fist pumps in the air.
Direct hit. Very good. And I clap my metal hands at him.
And then it starts to turn from you and looks at Eclipse.
Hello, little thing. We have been looking for you, and we heard you were a good judge of character.
And it nods excitedly.
We were wondering if you could, perchance, judge our character, if you wouldn't mind.
So it gladly stands up, and it holds its hands out like, hold on, like, wait a minute. And it starts walking around Vega, looking him up and down. And he goes over to behind Eclipse, looks her up and down, and starts walking over to Lysander. And then it quickly jumps back and tries to pounce on Eclipse's tail.
Oh my goodness! Oh! She exclaims in surprise.
Do you whip the tail out of its reach, or what do you do in the immediate reaction?
No. I'll let it play with it if it wants to.
It starts burying the tail in the snow, and it then starts to tamp it down to be packed in, and then it goes back to sit in front of you and sits back down, crisscross applesauce.
Thank you.
Then it looks towards Vega, and it kind of puts its makes its hand into a fist and rests it on the bottom of its chin.
Okay. Like, I can't picture that. What is it? What is it doing?
So it's sitting cross-legged, and it's like doing the thinking man pose.
So Clara's saying like it's waiting for a story. Is that the right picture you're trying to paint here?
Maybe.
Or does it just look like it's studying me?
Make an insight check. It's not hiding its feelings whatsoever, so it just looks bored.
Okay, then I'll kind of look at it a little and say, well, what do you think, buddy? Do you need something from us to judge our character, or?
And it kind of looks around, and it starts to put its hand back into the snow, and then it grabs a handful of snow and it looks at you, Vega. Anything you would like to do in that moment?
I'm gonna kind of smirk because I feel like it's about to throw a snowball at me.
And it's gonna take its left hand and grasp its right arm that has the handful of snow, and then it's gonna push it out towards you, and then it's going to thrust its arm into the air and create a powdered snow that is falling down to the ground, and it starts to do little circles and turn around in place and kind of jump around in the falling snow.
That's fucking adorable. Alright. I'll kind of smile and start nodding my head, and I'll suck some snow into my trunk.
Uh-huh.
And then shoot it up in the air above myself and do the same.
Fantastic. This has overjoyed the Chewinga, and it starts doing it alongside with you and starts throwing snow up in the air consistently, and whenever that falls to the ground, it picks up more and does it, and then it looks to Eclipse and it looks to Lysander.
Eclipse will grab a fistful of snow and put it in the air as well.
Do you dance?
I dance vigorously.
You can dance if you want to.
You can leave your fears behind.
And it looks to Zizix almost mentally saying, and if your friends don't dance, then you're no friends of mine.
So then Zizix will pick up a snowball, or just some snow, and clump it together, and then throw it directly at Caucus.
The Chewingo sees this happen and starts clapping its hands excitedly.
And then I pick up another one, and then I throw it at Lysander.
The Chewinga now picks up some snow and does it again at Lysander's. It's already hit it once and is very happy to do so again.
I am going to start making a very large snowball about as big as Zizix.
And what are you gonna do with it?
I'm gonna throw it at Zizix.
Zizix, are you jumping out of the way? This is very large.
I'm gonna scream, put my shield in front of me, and as I do that, a firebolt's gonna come out of my shield and fry the snowball in the air.
And then at that point, just the the snow turns to water and rains down into a small puddle below it. And then the Chewinga jumps back up and it runs over to the shield and grasps it and tries to jump up on top of it and is knocking on it, looking at it, and then he looks at you hiding behind the shield and he keeps pointing. He's pointing at it.
Yeah, that's mine.
And then he makes the motion of his hand thrusting up into the air and doing like spirit fingers and waving it like a flame would in the wind. And he points back at you, and then he jumps off the shield and he watches.
I think he liked the fireworks show for him.
And I will point the shield up, straight up into the air, making sure I'm like not gonna hit anything, and then fire up another one.
And it starts clapping its hands excitedly, and then it looks at all of you, even Carcass, and nods.
I think we've won their favor. And I'm gonna take off my hat and I'm gonna put some powdery snow in it, and I'm going to arch it up into the air, and I'm gonna try to dance around. I'm gonna do the robot.
Oh yeah, you didn't get into the dancing fret. That's right.
Do the robot.
So, we're picking up with you guys befriending the Chewinga. It enjoyed the fireball coming out of the shield. It loved dancing around in the snow with you guys. And it loved the dinner party that it had with Carcass until Carcass stole the fork and then really put it into a sour mood. But you guys were able to salvage that and be able to seemingly befriend this guy. So, what would you guys like to do at this point?
Well, now that we seem to have won their favor, I'm gonna turn to everyone and ask, so what now?
Well, I think that's all the lady told us to do. She said somehow that Chewinga would let her know what it judged our character to be. So I guess we just go back?
Were we supposed to bring one back with us?
Not from what she said. Not that I remember. She said we wouldn't have to capture it or coerce it into anything. We just have to talk to it.
And it's looking up at you guys back and forth as it's listening to this conversation.
Upon noticing that, I'll look down at it and say, I'm sorry, friend, not meaning to exclude you, but we were told to find you and have you judge our character. by a woman, and we're a little confused on what to do now that we've made friends with you. You're a very fun little guy.
He looks back up at you and he says, he points to himself, and then he points to you, and he points to Lysander, and then he starts making the talking sign, like opening and closing his fingers in a motion like he's talking, and points to himself again and points to all of you.
Can I roll insight to see if I can figure out what he means by that?
Sure.
Oh, that'd be a nat 20 plus 5.
Okay. It seems like he's trying to say that he'll tell whoever it is that what they want to hear. He's saying he's going to talk to them.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, friends. It was a pleasure meeting you.
And it nods in agreement excitingly and keeps watching you guys.
About what time of the day is it?
You probably have 2 hours of daylight left.
Would that be enough time for us to head back from where we came from into the town?
You mean back to East Haven? Or you mean back to Caer Konig? Or Caer Dineval?
Yeah, Caer Dineval.
Yeah, you could probably get there with daylight to spare, you'd think.
Well, let's say our mission here is complete.
Yes, we should try to head back to Caraval before nightfall.
Okay. So you guys turn around and start heading back through town to get back to the road?
Yes, after bidding our new friend a very fond farewell.
Absolutely.
And as you... Oh, go ahead.
Before we head out, do we want to see if there's a place here that has tents?
Does it look like there's any marketplace here at all?
So, coming in, you didn't see very much of a market. You saw the signs for the tavern, but nothing so much as more than a few fish stalls. But as you say goodbye to the Chewinga, it kind of tilts its head, almost confused.
Was there something else, friend?
And it shakes its head no.
Well, I'm just... You look perplexed. Is something bothering you?
And he shakes his head no.
Can I roll insight?
Sure.
Nah, that one was a 10.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem so confused as maybe a little understanding of the inability to understand as to why you're saying goodbye.
Oh, we have to complete our journey, friend. We have to go see the woman who sent us on this quest so that we may finish it.
And it starts nodding.
Well then, perhaps we may meet again.
It nods excitedly.
I wish I could talk so like we could find out its name.
So, with that, you guys don't think that there's really a sort of market that you've seen. You could explore the town and see what might be there if you'd like.
No, I think we should just get on with our journey.
Yeah, we just have to get back to Cardenabal for tonight, and then one more short trek the next day, I guess, back to East Haven, and hopefully we can get some tents there.
Okay, so back to the town to get access to the road. Or would you like to cut through the wilderness?
I'm gonna save the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys start walking towards the town, and you see the Chewinga is following you.
Fantastic.
Of course it can go.
Fucking pumped about that. I'll turn to it and say, "Oh, are you deciding to come with us there, friend?"
And it nods excitedly.
Well, that is fantastic. I am very glad to hear that.
Eclipse is gonna kneel down next to it and ask, "Would you like to ride on my shoulder?"
And it starts clapping its hand enthusiastically.
And Eclipse is gonna scoop it up and place it on her shoulder before they head out.
And it grabs onto your ears almost like a Ratatouille situation where it's trying to steer you.
Cutest shit ever.
As you guys walk through town, you go past where the tavern is. Then you see where the snow's been piled up as they've been kind of paving or clearing the pathway of the snow. Give me a perception check from those who are in the lead, which I assume is still Eclipse from before.
Yes. That would be a 23.
23. You notice that there seems to be something inside of the snow, one of the piles that are kind of pushed up against one of the buildings there.
Eclipse is gonna walk over to the pile and start brushing a little of the snow aside.
As you place your hand on the snow and start brushing it to the side, it quickly bursts up and this large creature emerges from the snow pile, and it's a dragonborn. And the figure looks around and it says, "Who goes there? Is it thieves? Have I found those creeping bastards?" And he pulls down the scarf that had been wrapped up over his face, with a bottle of wine in the other hand, and he looks to you and says, "Oh, pardon my manners. I'm sorry. A bit jittery with all the thieving going on. I'm Trovis. I'm the town speaker."
Well, pleased to make your acquaintance, I suppose. I am Eclipse of the Moon. But why are you hiding in snow?
I honestly couldn't tell you. And he looks to his hand, and he sees the wine bottle still in his hand, and he kind of tosses it over his shoulder.
A fan of the drink, are we?
I don't know what you're talking about. So, band of adventurers, are ya? You look the sort. And a little one with you. What is that?
This is our Chewinga friend. He is accompanying us back to our, the beginning of our quest, per se.
Alright, well, have you spent much time in town yet?
Not extensively, just to find this little one. Why do you ask?
Well, I was just gonna ask if you had seen anything odd going on. I'm trying to find the words. We've had some thieving occurring here in town. No one's seen anything though, so I was kind of hoping that maybe if you had spent some time here, you might have saw something. I mean, just the other night, the lantern over at the Northern Light Inn, it was stolen, and the innkeeper, Corey, she wouldn't let me hear the end of it because I haven't been able to find those responsible yet. Not yet, anyway. I have a knack for this stuff. I used to, anyway. I was an adventurer like yourselves not too long ago. Oh, those were the days.
She nods, and she's going to glance at the Chewinga on her shoulder to see its reaction to this.
Well, the Chewinga at first was very scared by the bursting of the snow, and it kind of fell back onto the back of your cloak and held on while peeking over your shoulder. But it seems to have risen up a little bit and is now kind of just resting on one side of your shoulders. Meanwhile, Trovis, he says, yeah, about 20 years ago or so, when I was in my younger days, I was able to fell a half ogre. I was able to kick him into a river, and I listened to him scream obscenities at me. Oh, what a time. What a day. Memories.
Back in 83, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
I learned a few new words that day.
I see. Well, we haven't seen any thievery happen. I don't know if I could help you in that department.
Well, just keep an eye out, I suppose.
Yeah, there was a lady a bit of ways back who claimed that some burglars broke in and stole her cutlery.
The Chewinga tightens its grip on Eclipse.
I'm just gonna glance down at it and be like, ease up, friend. It's fine.
And, oh, go ahead.
We weren't able to find any footprints in the snow since the blizzard came through. That's all we know, though.
Well, silverware, that's interesting. Well, if you happen to find who has been doing any of the thieving, look for a lantern that's been stolen. There's been a pair of goats that have been stolen. A small sack of pearls. That's also gone missing from Frozen Far expeditions.
We will most certainly keep our eyes out for those.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out Frozen Far expeditions, I'd say it's worth your time as adventurers. The first time I stopped in there, it was just after I had tricked a group of kobolds. I got them to believe I was a dragon in humanoid form. Those are the days.
Indeed. Well, we perhaps may stop by there on our way out of town.
Oh, well, that's the opposite direction. You have to go back into town.
What exactly is this place?
It's an outfitter of sorts if you need survival gear or fishing tackle, anything like that.
Do they have tents?
They may have some in store. I don't know how many. We usually don't keep too many of a stock, as most of the travelers coming into town already have them.
All right. Well, I'd say it might be worth checking out, guys.
I would agree. What was your name, friend?
Trovis, I'm the town speaker here.
Pleasure to meet you, Trovis. Let's tip my hat at him.
Likewise. If you don't mind me, I'm gonna start searching the tavern for these thieves.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
As soon as he's out of earshot, I'm gonna kind of mutter to the rest of the party. I bet he'll find all of those thieves if they're hiding at the bottom of a bottle of wine.
Eclipse will give a hearty chuckle at that, and then she's going to look at her Chewinga friend and say, does a lantern, a pair of goats, and a bag of pearls mean anything to you?
And it shakes its head. No, emphatically.
Insight?
Yeah, go ahead.
That'd be 18.
It seems like a genuine reaction.
Huh. Okay.
Shall we go in the direction of this outfitter's place? See if we can nab any supplies.
I reckon we should.
Zizix, give me a perception check really quick.
17.
You notice that when you were walking towards the outskirts of town, there weren't any footprints in front of you, but after the interaction with Trovis, you now see some footprints there and don't recall anyone passing through.
Kind of suspiciously, I'll look in my bag to make sure everything is there.
Yeah, you take a few seconds to double check your bag, but everything's all there accounted for.
Zizix will say, hey guys, I don't remember these footprints being here before.
Alright, I'm gonna kneel down and take a look at them and try to identify what or who they might have come from.
Sure, go ahead and make a survival check.
$19.
These look like the footprints of a dwarf.
Well, I'm gonna turn to Zizix. I don't know about you, but they appear to be dwarven to me.
And you would know that these are sizably larger than Zizix's feet, if that's what you were inferring.
I wasn't inferring they were his.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm just saying if he might agree with that notion.
Yeah, but something's off because they weren't here before. Was maybe someone invisible?
That would be a mite upsetting.
That would explain why nobody can find the thief if it's an invisible dwarf running around stealing people's shit.
Do they look to be about the same size as the footprints I found in the woman's home?
No, those were much smaller.
be very lucky for a thief to find a way to cast themselves invisible.
Well, I think it's also kind of strange that that guy just appeared out of nowhere in the ground and was talking to us. He seemed like he was trying to kind of distract us a little. Why don't you guys check your bags just to make sure?
All right.
Yeah, everyone then dives into their bags and takes a look. But you're not noticing anything missing at all.
That's very curious. Which direction are the footprints heading?
They are heading between an alleyway between two houses.
Shall we follow them?
I think.
One second, guys. Alright, so...
Sam, before we start heading that way,
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. You do not sense anything magical within your radius.
Okay.
Also, Sam, which town are we in that's north of Caradonabal?
Karakonig. Konig. Wow, my dogs are drinking up a storm. All right. So you guys are heading between the alleyway, following the tracks, and who's leading this endeavor?
I'll go check it out and investigate.
Okay.
I'm gonna stealthily walk down the alley and follow these footprints.
Right. So as you follow them closely with your eyes down, making sure that you're following the right one, you know these are fresh. Even more so because there was a blizzard just recently that covered most of the tracks up. So as you start to turn the corner into the alleyway, you start to hear the crunching of ice beneath the feet, and it's not coming from you.
I will follow the sound of these footprints.
Okay, are you being stealthy?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead and make your stealth check.
That's a 21.
That's very good. So you start to skulk around this alleyway and you turn the corner and you hear the crunching a little bit clearer now. And then you see imprints in the snow being made of a foot, of another foot, of another foot, walking away from you.
I'm going to tackle where I see those footprints being created. And if I've dwarven, I'm going to tackle low.
Okay, very good. So go ahead and make a melee attack. So you're going to add your strength bonus. I don't think you have proficiency in that.
Okay.
What do you got?
15.
15. You're able to make contact with whatever it is that you just rammed yourself into, and you try to grab and restrain, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And they, whoever this is remaining invisible, and you feel it struggling, and it's struggling against your grasp.
I'm going to tighten my hold.
Alright. Now, you feel that your grasp is getting widened, and it's widening so much that you can't clasp your fingers anymore. And this thing just smells like caves and musk, and just doesn't smell like it really takes care of its personal hygiene at all. And it has become huge from what you can feel. And it starts to try to break free of your grasp, and it's going to do so with a 17 contested strength check, so roll a strength check.
That's a 16.
So it's going to be able to just break out of your grasp and push you down to the ground, and now you see this invisible being with large footprints running away from you.
I'm going to chase after these footprints and yell, "Show yourself, coward!"
Okay. So now it's going to run its fastest speed away from you. Give me a perception check at disadvantage to try to keep track of where it's going. You know what? Never mind the disadvantage. I'm going to give you a flat roll because it's giant right now and it's not exactly hard to follow the sound.
That's a nat 20.
Perfect. So it ducks out of the alleyway towards the back end of town out into the wilderness as it continues to traverse outside of town. But you're on its heels. With your speed, you can just keep up with this thing but not really gain very much ground.
I'm going to grab a big pack of snow as I'm running. I'm going to try to make a snowball to throw in the direction, because I'm guessing that it's kicking up snow as it's running, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to throw a snowball in the direction that I see these tufts of snow getting thrown into the air.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make a ranged attack at disadvantage, as you can't actually see what you're throwing at.
Alright, what would you want me to add to that?
Your dexterity bonus.
That's awesome. That's a 22 at disadvantage.
Yeah, so you clock this thing, and you just see that your snowball just lands on this thing, and it splatters across its back, and now, as it's continuing to run, the snow is shaking off of it, but you can still kind of make out where you made contact with it as it continues to run into the wilderness.
So it's running out of town. Is it running into trees or the mountains?
There is a mountain range in the distance from it.
Alright, I'm going to keep tracking it.
Okay.
Is it making any audible sounds like growls or panting or anything like that?
No audible no audible groans or anything visceral like that. Just the sounds of its feet landing in the dirt or in the snow.
Alright, I'm gonna keep on its trail, following its footprints. As I'm running, can I take a look at how big the footprints are, what kind of shape they're making as I'm
Yeah,
chasing after
absolutely.
it?
Absolutely. So the size of these footprints are huge from what they were. It looks like the size of an ogre at this point.
Okay. And do I see any caves in any direction ahead in these mountains that it might be going up to?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Seven.
Yeah, you can't really make anything out. Not at this distance. It's a little too far out for you.
Alright, I'm gonna keep following the footprints anyway.
So what are the rest of you doing? Are you following in suit?
Well, I don't know if we did from the start, so
I'm just trying to fill in the gap there.
I mean, if we saw him run by chasing it, or if we heard the commotion when it broke free from him, I probably would have tried to pursue.
Okay.
I think Eclipse would have as well, keeping in mind that she has a passenger.
Okay. Zizix? Carcass?
I mean, I'd probably go with, and just because I don't want to be left alone.
Okay. Carcass?
Yes, Carcass would go with everyone. He does not wish to be alone either.
Alright. Very good. So, you guys are all heading out after him in this, in the wilderness. Lysander is quite a ways ahead of you guys. However, you're probably maybe 30 feet back. And Lysander, as you're chasing and in pursuit of this invisible creature, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
$19?
You feel a rope try to entangle one of your legs. As you're running forward, you see it rise out of the snow, and then you're able to hop right over it, and then you look to your left and your right, and you see this rope kind of floating in the air.
Okay. I'm going to keep an eye. Do I still see the tufts of snow being thrown into the air from this thing running away?
Yeah, you do.
How far away is it?
It's probably about 35 feet away at this point.
Okay. Do I see anybody else running behind me from my group?
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay, I'm gonna turn around and throw my hands in the air and say, "Stop. This place is trapped. I'll be right back." And I'm gonna turn around and try to step in each of the footsteps that it is leaving behind to avoid any further traps.
Okay, and as you do that, the rope that you nearly tripped over is combined down to one, and it looks like something is being tied together. And there's a makeshift slip knot that has been made and thrown at you to try to lasso you. go ahead. Let's see. That's a ranged attack. So that's going to be a 16 against your AC.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So you'll be quickly enveloped in this short lasso as you start to be actively pulled back. Give me a strength check to see if you can break out.
That's a 19.
A 19. All right. You are able to slip the grasp of this lasso and pull it off of you.
I see where the lasso is being carried in the air by itself.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna draw my crossbow and aim right at it.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna yell at it and say, "Do it again."
Okay.
Or you can, and I'm gonna say, or you can show yourself and avoid my arrow.
And I'm going to have everyone roll for initiative. Give me 1 second. All right, Carcass,
Have a 13.
Lysander,
19.
19. Clips,
19.
nice. Zezix,
13.
Vega.
Motherfucking 4!
All right. Good initiative overall. All right, first act is going to be Lysander.
Since this creature attacked me, has it become visible or no?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm gonna aim right at this, right at that rope that's just suspended in the air. Like, show yourself now.
You hear no retort.
I'm gonna fire.
Okay, go ahead and roll at disadvantage. No, you can see where it's holding, so just regular roll.
Regular roll.
Yep, regular roll.
Me too.
Sorry, how much?
22.
Yeah, that'll hit. And you stick an arrow right in between the rope where it's being tied. Go ahead and roll damage.
That would be 11 piercing damage.
And with that damage, the perpetrator is now revealed. And you see a Duragar standing in front of you with the lasso.
Hey, what?
A Duragar. These are underground dwarves that come from the Underdark.
Okay.
They are also known as Grey Dwarves. So, with that, the next turn goes to Eclipse. You're about 35 feet away.
I, I would like to be close enough to be able to strike it.
Yeah, you could probably make that happen. That's fine.
And then she will take a swing at it with her quarterstaff.
Okay, go ahead and roll to attack.
18,
How much? Sorry?
19.
19. That's going to be not a critical hit, but a hit. Miss punch. My bad. So that'll hit. Roll damage.
Eight.
Okay, very nice. You thwack it with your quarterstaff right into its face. Blood visibly drooling from its mouth now with the blow that it's taken and the arrow sticking out of its gut. And it starts yelling at you in a language that you can't really understand or perceive. Not perceive, but have an understanding for. I already said that. Okay. Anything else you would like to do?
I would like to do a unarmed strike.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Uh, 20.
That'll hit. Roll damage.
Uh, 8 damage.
Very nice. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I can do.
Alright, so after hitting it in the face with your quarterstaff, you turn around and give it a back elbow and a quick back fist to follow it up with, doing a sizable amount of damage to this guy. Brings us up to Carcass, who's next.
How far away is he?
He's just at 30 feet from you.
Okay, then I will run at him and swing with my great axe.
Okay.
Say 23.
Yeah, that's gonna hit pretty easily. Roll damage.
That is 8 points of damage.
Very nice. You swing with your great axe, you kind of swing low like a tennis shot and just get a good chunk out of its arm and its shoulder, and it's bleeding profusely. It seems to be on death's door. Is there anything else that you would like to do?
Yes, I would like to use my hammering horns and have him make a strength save.
Okay, a strength save. That is a 6.
Then I will push him 10 feet away from us.
Okay. And poof, he flies off about 8 feet away and lands and slides the rest of the distance. And he gets himself back up and he clenches his fist and yells at you before he starts to reach behind him for his war pick. He starts to charge forward. And he's going to go after Carcass. That's going to be a 5 to hit. Oh boy.
He will miss.
That is a miss. Alright. Next turn. Zizix.
Zizix will actually attack for once.
Okay.
And he'll cast a firebolt out of his shield.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
$24.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's 4 damage.
Go ahead and describe your kill.
As Zizik screams to shoot a firebolt out of his shield, it slams it straight into the dwarf's chest and lighting its beard on fire. And as it does that, the beard slowly burns and up around its face, and then catches its cloak and engulfs it in fire.
Incineration. Very nice. All right. At this point, what would you like to do now?
I would like to go and retrieve my arrow out of its gut and wipe the blood off of its burnt cloak. Is the arrow salvageable since he was burned to death?
Let's roll for that actually, because that was a pretty brutal. Yeah, it's still salvageable. I'll take that roll. I rolled a D100 and got a 100, so of course it's salvageable.
Oh, hell yeah. Alright, so I'm going to put that back in my quiver after cleaning it off. And, yeah, I'm going to turn to the party. Okay, so this little bandit here was waiting here in the trees, invisible, trying to rope me. And the other one appears to have gotten away, but it left some pretty big tracks. It seemed to be little at first, but then once I tackled it while it was invisible, it grew in my arms and it smelled terrible. And I proceeded to chase it out of town, where this thing was lying in wait. And it got me on the ground once for a little bit, but, well, we know how that turned out for him. But I think we might have located where these thieves are basing their operations.
Vega's gonna kind of join everybody else since he didn't really get a chance to.
You're still catching your breath and hustling up.
Yeah, didn't really get to help at all there. But I'll say, well, are there still tracks we can follow to find the other one?
I reckon there are. Let's go look.
All right. Let's go ahead and get survival check.
I got a 17.
Yeah, that's great. So you're able to pick back up on the trail with the giant footsteps, and as you move outward about maybe 100 feet or so, just following these tracks, you see they start to shrink and shrink and shrink back to their dwarven size that you had originally discovered.
Looks like we might have a shapeshifter here. And can we still follow them as they get smaller?
Yeah, how far would you like to track it? All the way? Like, just keep going?
Shall we? I turn to the party and ask.
I don't see why not.
It'd be good to be in the town's favor.
Yeah, and we already came this far, so.
All right. So, you keep tracking this thing for what feels like 30 minutes at this point. Even though it has small legs, its stride seems to be just huge. So it seems like it may be able to run really fast for some reason, unbeknownst to you. But eventually you get closer and closer to this mountain ridge. Let's see. So, This mountain ridge is known as Kelvin's Cairn, and this is a very, very large set of foothills. And as you draw close enough following these footprints, a blocky stronghold bereft of warmth or charm juts out of the hillside in a rough crescent shape. Only part of its construction is visible, the rest seems to be buried in the stone. You see a large double door made of stone serving as the main entrance, while the terrain leading to it is a gentle upward sloping plain covered with fresh snow. A stream used to flow out of the barred culvert northeast of the main entrance, but the waterway has frozen. 2 other barred openings can be seen along the stronghold's northern wall. Anyone positioned behind these openings would have an unobstructed view of the hillside. And closer to you, separated from the rest of the stronghold, is a snow-covered stone bunker perforated by arrow slits.
I think we might have found our little friend's home.
Yeah, I'd say so. But I'd also say, taking down one guy was worth it for this town. Taking down a fortress, I say it's not our fight to be worth that much. I say we just tell the speaker of the town where we tracked him to and let them handle their own business.
What does everyone else say?
Well, Zizix will say, didn't the soothsayer say that this is where we were supposed to be? Like, we needed to kill these dwarves, or else they would take over the land?
She said eventually, but we were not anywhere near ready yet. So if this is the place she was talking about, we absolutely shouldn't go in right now.
Sorry to interrupt. Just because I want you to be able to speak on your character's memory. She said that fortress lied within the spine of the world, which is not where this is.
Oh, okay.
I was just about to say that actually, because I have that in my notes.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I normally would not have known that, but I happened to write it down.
So,
Was the inspiration there?
For good note.
Don't instigate. Don't instigate.
So how large is this fortress that we can see?
This fortress is pretty sizable from what you can see of it. The entrance, let's see if I can pull it up here. The entrance seems to be about 40 foot wide, the doors being 10 foot across. So it's a 40 foot wall essentially in this little alcove of the hillside.
Yeah, that is pretty sizable.
And it's built into the hill, so there's really no telling how large this thing is.
Sam, with Zizix being an Izzet League gnome, would he know about the construction of this particular door?
The construction of this door being stone? He would know a little bit about it, I would think. He would know how it opens and where it might have a weak point. Though, Duragar construction is a little different from how normal dwarven gnome construction is.
Okay, so reading the description, it says I have basic knowledge of the structure of buildings, including stuff behind the walls. So, would I understand or know how to open said door?
You could probably spend a little bit of time to figure it out.
Well, Zizix would probably, like, as a character, be investigating the door while everyone's discussing.
Okay, go ahead and roll investigation.
That's an 11.
So you go to look to see exactly where the door would hinge, and you're seeing a lot of differences from what you're familiar with. If you just had more time, you could just figure it out to pop this thing open.
Zizix will turn to the group and say, guys, I might be able to get us in this door if we just if you want to wait a little bit.
Well, I'd be inclined to let you. How is everybody else feeling? We already know Vegacon's stance on the matter.
The Chewinga is shaking in fear.
I don't think that we should, says Eclipse. The Chewinga is very obviously scared, so something in there frightens it.
Okay. Well, maybe we can find that drunk Dragonborn and relay some information to him.
Zizix will pipe up and say, well, what makes you think that that guy's not in league with him?
Well, he is the town's speaker. He has some level of responsibility.
Yeah, but this thing's pretty big, and I feel like the town would know it's here.
Just for reference, you guys have been traveling for about 30 minutes or so outside of town tracking this thing. It's not necessarily well known or visible from afar, but the way that you were following the tracks led you to this vantage point to seeing it.
Okay. Well, I retract what I was saying then.
Yep, understood. I just wanted to make that clear.
I think we ought to go back and find that dwarf's dead body, bring it into town, and tell them what happened and where to find this fortress, as Vegacon said.
I agree. That sounds like a very reasonable idea.
Well, while the intrigue is tempting, I think I will agree with you guys.
Mayhaps we can come back another day. One town at a time, my friend. But I think that we solved their little mystery, and maybe they can heed better on what to look out for. So shall we head back down the mountain from where we came?
Yes, let's.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Heading back towards town, you guys make a stop at where you had felled the first Duragar.
I would like to investigate the body before
Okay.
I pick it up, sling it over my shoulder.
Sure, go ahead and give it an investigation check.
That's a 7.
So you kind of give it a once over, and outside of its large hammer that it has, you don't find very much until Vega, with his passive perception, actually sees something jutting out of its pocket on the opposite side of where you're looking.
What does it look like?
A small pouch.
I'll snatch it while he's picking him up. Not gonna try and hide it or anything. I'm just gonna grab it and look, see what it is.
Sure. So you open up the pouch and you see it's a collection of small pearls.
This is absolutely one of the things that the speaker said was missing. So I think we give this to him along with the body and let him know that we absolutely solved their little mystery here.
Indeed. I'll sling the Dirigar's body over my shoulder and head back into town from where I chased that invisible thing out.
Okay. Going back into town, it takes you another 10 minutes. No, you guys are closer than that. A short amount of time, you guys are able to make it back into Karakonig, to which the streets are about as full as they can be. It's still a fairly small town. It looks like the fishermen have set out, and it looks like there is a fish market that is open at the moment. She's waving down anyone wanting to pass by for a couple of small pieces of coin. She's willing to let a fish go.
I spot Trovis in the crowd of these people.
No, you don't.
And what time is it getting to be?
It's probably closer to when sun's setting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think mayhaps somebody else should go and ask before I walk into this town with a dead body over my shoulders where we might find Trovis.
Well, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here and check the tavern first.
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay. So, you go into the inn. Lysander with a corpse over his shoulder, and the inn appears to be mostly empty. And a young woman greets you as you enter, and looks over her shoulder and you see Trovis sitting on the table, glass deep into another bottle of wine, and she says, "Oh, you must be the ones who found Trovis outside. I'm telling him he's got to stop relying on the kindness of strangers to wake him up from his drunken naps." The woman then opens a door towards the back, what looks like a kitchen, and says, "Heat something up for these travelers who found Trovis." And she comes back out and says, "I'll have something for you as thanks." What is that? As she peers at the corpse that is sitting on top of Lysander's shoulders.
Heard your town had a little problem with some thieves.
Yeah, we most certainly did. Did you find our lantern?
No, but I motion over to Vacon and nod toward her with the indicating the bag of pearls.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll say, we did find this though, as I hold them up.
Oh, what are these? And Trovis kind of looks over his shoulder and said, "Wow, you haven't been here very long and you've already found what was stolen?" And Alice is her name. Allie is her name. And she opens up the pouch and she says, "It's the pearls! My sister Alice has lost her pearls and you found them. Thank you very much. This thing had them?"
Yep, this was the culprit. And I'm gonna fling it down onto a table.
And she says, well, that's a mess I'll have to clean up later, but it's alright, I suppose, for the return of these pearls. And Trovis is clearly interested now, and he starts to stand up, and he says, I don't think I've seen one of these before. What, what is that?
Well, Rick, I think it would be a Dirigar.
A Dirigar? That's a, some sort of a dark dwarf there?
I reckon.
Could have fooled me.
He was invisible.
Is that why we've only been finding footprints about?
Most like.
And where did you find this one?
Down an alley that led out of town. Tried to tackle one of them, and it grew within my grasp. It smelled terrible, and it left behind footprints which appeared to be that of an ogre. I chased it out of town where this one tried to bag me, but we were able to relocate the footprints from my previous pursuee and found a fortress in the mountains about half an hour out of town.
You're saying that these things have a fortress? Where?
Up the mountain range, and I point to the direction from where we came.
Oh, Kelvin's Cairn.
Sure.
Yes.
Affirmative.
So, it's like, well, that's a problem for us, I'd say. That's, I don't know if we have enough men for a fortress. We have but 100 men living in this town, and not many of them capable.
The fortress burrowed into the side of the mountain, and there were slits in the side of the walls that I would say would be used for arrows and lookouts.
So it's defensible, you say? That spells even graver news for us.
If they're coming down one at a time, maybe you can pick them off. But I'd keep a watchful eye to the ground to see any unusual footprints that might appear.
If I was only but younger, I would get my groups of friends and we would storm that fortress. We'd do it, but I have responsibilities now here as town speaker, and well, part of that responsibility is delegation. So, hey, you group of adventurers, would you be interested in taking down a fortress such as this?
Not particularly.
Well, I understand. We wouldn't have much to give you. We could maybe spare a few free nights at the inn for a while if you'd like, to rest up afterwards, and we'll get you back up to health if necessary, but we don't have very much in the way of our coffers are empty at this point. But I understand.
I turn to the party and ask, would we like to shack up here for the night or try to get back to town with the setting sun? The nights are going to grow colder.
I still want to check their marketplace for tents either way.
As do...
Tents? You need tents? Let me go with you, and maybe I can get you what tents they have in store as as a compensation for doing this. Would that be good? You don't even have to do it now. Just promise.
Suffice it to say, yes.
Oh, good. Let's go check.
Lead the way, my friend.
And Alice is like, "What the hell? I just had you guys. We got food cooking for you. Are you gonna come back?"
Oh.
Yeah, why don't we eat and then go to the market?
Forgive me, sometimes these things slip my mind.
I completely understand this is a lot of information, but please, can you put that thing outside?
Sure.
He has a name. Thank you. It's Carcass.
She was talking about the dead body there, bud.
Yeah, that card.
Oh, my apologies.
I'm sorry, you have a friend named Carcass?
Yes. Hello, Carcass is me.
Oh my, did your parents love you?
You would have to ask them. I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
Tell you what, how about my friends stay here and feast? I'll take this thing outside, and I'll follow you to the marketplace, Trovis.
Yes, this this should be suitable. Yeah. We'll be back with tents, hopefully.
Much obliged. And then I turn to Allie and tip my hat and grab the body off the table. I apologize for the mess, ma'am. And then step out.
And she says, "Don't worry about it. I'll have it cleaned up in a jiff so your friends can sit and eat their warm meal."
Thank you kindly.
And I am going to go ahead and sit down at the table before she washes it.
Okay. And pretty soon after she gives it a quick, comes over and gives it a quick wipe down with some rags and throws the rags into a bin and keeps muttering how she's gonna have to clean the blood off of these again. And, quite a few fights happen from what you surmise that she's grumbling about. But they bring out knucklehead trout stew. It's quite warm, it's quite tasty, it's very vibrant for what minimal resources they have for cooking here. So you guys can sit down and have that meal.
Eclipse will sit down and start eating heartily, setting aside a small portion for her Chewinga friend.
Oh, and he's so excited. He is so excited for that. Real food, and he's going to take the fork or the spoon that comes with it. He's going to start banging it on the table, tapping it on the bowl, and then he enjoys the music, so he starts trying to do it in a rhythm.
I fucking love this thing, for the record.
Chewingas are great. Shortly after eating a little bit of it, he kind of looks around at you guys eating out of your bowls, and he takes his bowl and he dumps it out, and then he puts the bowl on his head and starts banging the spoon on the helmet that he's now got, and he points over at well, Lysander's not there anymore, but he gestures outside and starts knocking on the head like he's got a hat.
We have our own mini Lysander. How cute.
Alright, so flash frame over to Frozen Far Expeditions. You open the door, and there is a brown-haired, blue-eyed human running this shop. He's older. His hair may be a little more gray than brown, but you hear the sounds of dogs just barking and barking inside, and you see sleds. You see a couple of tents actually are up alongside the walls. There's 2 dogs that are running around the shop on their own, and then you see the owner coming towards you, and he says, I didn't think you'd wake up from your drunken slumber. Yeah, well, this guy over here, he woke us up and he did us a favor, and I kinda promised him some of your merchandise. Trovus. Again? Yeah, I mean, what can we do? We gotta give them compensation for something, plus there's more to be done. And he looks to you, the merchant, and he says, well, what do you need? I'm Atnus Swift.
Pleasure to meet you. I tip my hat at him. My party and I seek tents. They've become scarce around these parts.
How many do you have with you?
We're gonna need 6.
You're gonna need 6 tents?
Let me ask you, how many people can fit in your tents?
How big are your people?
They vary in size, from small to quite large. I guess you could say that I'm the medium one.
And you're not so small yourself. So, let's take a look at what I got. And he goes over to the backside with his tents. You count 3 tents, 2 of the smaller variety and 1 large one. He says, this is what I have, but the large one might be able to fit 2 of you. Maybe a smaller one to go in with you, so 3. But these smaller ones, I'm not sure exactly how they would fare well. They could fit 1 of you comfortably.
I'll take them all.
Okay, so I'll hand you these. He'll hand you these 2 small tents all bundled up, and then 1 large tent he just puts on a little wagon. And as you start to pick up some of the merchandise and take it from him, one of the dogs starts to hurr.
What's wrong with your canine friend over here?
Oh, that's Darby. He's the stray one. All the other ones they're good Boca certified pups, but this one I got on my own.
I'm not taking his house, am I?
No. He's just protective. We've had some thieving going on, and apparently you've taken care of some of that, so he's a good one, Darby. Let him be.
You got a good dog there.
Thank you. He's a good sled dog. If you're interested in sleds, I'm not giving away those for free, but if you ever needed to rent a sled with some dogs, I'm your guy.
That we might take you up on in the future. I look around. What else do they have in this shop?
So there is a lot of stuff that is used for adventuring. Like you see climbing gear that's in there. You see an assortment of bedrolls, mess kits, random assortments of tools. And then, of course, you see the sleds and parts of sleds for purchase if something goes wrong on your sled. Large bags, some crates and boxes to be able to purchase that are stacked up neatly by the counter. It looks like this might be a go-to spot for a trade caravan.
What was the name of this place?
Frozen Far Expeditions.
Right. Well, I'm gonna take my bounty with the tents, and what was that guy's name again?
Atnus Swift, at your service.
I'm sure we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Just don't let Trovis tell you any more of his tall tales. I was there for half of them and not as tall. Not as tall as he says.
He seems like a man with many a tale.
Hey, are you saying that because I'm a dragonborn? I've only got the one tail.
No, not that kind of tale, my friend.
I know, I'm just pulling your leg. You've got two of those.
That I do. Not much gets by you, does it?
Nothing gets by me. I would catch it.
Well, my friend, if I were to agree with you, we'd both be wrong.
Touche, touche. I can't dispute that, can I? As I was asleep in a snowdrift. But with that being said, tents procured, and a notch in the map of where to procure some sled dogs and sleds if necessary. That is going to be where we end for tonight. I enjoyed that. That was the Chewinga, I think, was the star of the show tonight. That was a lot of fun.
He's filed. He's mine.
I was hoping before we ended for the night we could have another Sam on Sam conversation.
Oh yeah, because those are always entertaining, right? Just me talking to myself. The downside is that because we're remote now, you guys can't see me visibly turning to my left and right to designate who is talking. Though I assure you, I am still doing it.
Oh, don't worry. I can see it in my mind.
Theater of the mind is a powerful thing. So thanks everybody for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. These past 4 hours really flew by. Come back next week. We're going to start at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, all at the same time, despite the different numbers. So come on back now, and have another good time. So talk to you guys later. Have a good night.